Bonjour and welcome to my channel. Today I want to transform my crawler. This is a Gen 8 Axe edition that I bought a year and a half ago. I wanted to make many different transformations. So let's start with a list of all the things that I wanted to do on that vehicle. First off, the body. I never really liked the body on my crawler, so I bought a JEEP Injora body from AliExpress. Second, the tires. Here again, the tires that came with the crawler was not great, so I had to change them. Then I saw a kit to realign the servo motor in line of the body. I bought it and it's gonna add some weight. I think it's gonna be a good thing. Then I want to install functional lights on my crawler. For that, I bought a micro relay that can be controlled by a separate channel. Next, I bought the inner and outer cup as brass components to add weight in front of my crawler. I intend to grease all the gears and all the gearboxes, and I want to build a support to have a working steering wheel, and finally add a couple of accessories. Oof, there's a lot of work to do, so let's start. Okay, while the time-lapse occurred behind the scenes, let me show you where did I take my inspiration. First, this guy, my Passion RC Studio XD40 Loose RC Garage. This guy shows how to fit an Injora Jeep body onto a Gen 8 frame, which is similar to what I wanted to do, except that we didn't have the same body. The two things that I noted is, first, he cut, as you can see here, he cut the top of the shocks, and I did not want to go that route. And the second thing is this tray. As you can see, he modified the back suspension. I did not want to do that, but he created a space here to place the battery, and this was great. So I took a couple of ideas from him to do my build. Second, this guy. When he showed that he made hinges, as you can see here, to support the body, it inspired me. Here again, the difference is the body is not the same as mine, so I wasn't able to use exactly the same setup as he did, but this was my inspiration. So this second site is Adam's Playground, and the third website that inspired me is this one called the GMHRC. This guy explains how to fit the servo relocation parts on Gen 8 and test it on the field. So these three videos were my inspirations. So let's go back to the build. As you can see, I work quite hard to try a place to install the ESC, and I decided to place it on the right hand side of the vehicle. Now for the body, if I place it on top of the frame, you see that it fits correctly in the front portion. It's a little bit too forward, but anyway, you can see that the shocks do not fit. I will have to cut through the body. So let's do this. I used the Dremel to cut the holes. I started with 2 small holes because I wasn't sure if I had to cut more than that. But you will see that finally I will have to cut much more than only 2 holes. Okay, so testing confirmed that the holes are too small. I have to cut it much more than that. So let's do this. I'm gonna hide it eventually, so it's not a problem. Okay, and now after testing it, I noticed that it's a little bit tight, so I have to cut it again. You know, it's the first time I work with Injora bodies, and I must admit that they are really well made. Every piece and parts fits perfectly together. The roof even comes with aluminum parts and tubing, which is very sturdy. I'm very impressed. Okay, here I tried to install the dashboard, but it was only temporary because I want to install a servo motor behind the wheel. So I just wanted to see how does it fit and if I was able to install the rest of the parts before. And yes, I was able to do so. So I continue with the doors and the rest. Unfortunately, the videos for the steering wheel were lost, so you will not see the completion of it. But anyway, it's quite simple at the end. Okay, the next portion of the work is to do kind of a support. It was initially meant to support the battery, but finally I use it to install the audio. And as you can see, I work with cardboard as a template, and then I use a small, very thin layer of aluminum that I can cut with a standard scissor. And I prepared everything and installed it on the crawler by folding it by hand and drilling holes in it and fitting the aluminum using the actual screws on the frame. Now, to design my own hinge, I decided to use Fusion 360 so I can manipulate parts and make them, you know, turn around virtual screws. Let's do it in Fusion 360. Okay, let's say this is my truck. This is the truck, this is the frame of the truck, and this is the bumper. This part here is the part that I designed. It's shaped like this because it goes under the hard body. This part is designed in such a way that the body do not go further in the front of the vehicle, so it stops on these bars here. Well, now let's try to see if I can lift the body of the crawler on that point here. Let's see, I want to move this using this as a hinge point. It works, but the problem here is I cannot place a screw right here. So this is not good. The second option I had was to move the screw behind and put it under the frame, kind of here. But if I try to move the body, then I see that it collides with the part here, so it's not good. Third option is to move the hinge below the body. As you can see, it collides again with the part. I could cut the part and make it work like this. And my last option was to use this location as the hinge point, just between the frame and the body, and just between the end of the body and the beginning of the bumper. If I try to move the body using this as the hinge, as you can see, it works perfectly and it clears the red part correctly. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use a part that allows me to hinge here. To build my own version of the hinge, I decided to use a sheet of galvanized steel that I had. It's quite strong, but not that much, so I decided to place 2 layers of metal stick together with the double-sided tape for the bottom part, the part that is fixed on the structure of the vehicle, and the portion that is stick on the body will be only 1 single layer of metal, and it's correct finally. The final part is very sturdy finally. I'm very happy. I use all screws with plastic washers, so they will not unscrew with the vibration. It's very, very strong. Finally, I'm very happy. And this part here, the cardboard, will be replaced by the aluminum that I just cut. The next part was the electronic portion of the project. I start painting this black part with chrome paint, and install all the LEDs and all the wires. So let's check it out. The resistor that I used was 120 ohm. This value allows me to control the current to 20 milliamp per LED. And because I bought bright LEDs, the brightness was perfect. Believe me, I tested every step in the process to make sure I didn't cut any wire or burn anything. So I tested and tested and tested a lot. Everything's working now. Okay, let's do some measurements. First, I'm gonna weigh the original tire with plastic rim that came with the crawler, 144.9 grams. If I use the new tire with a steel rim, it weighs 210.8 grams. Now, if I take the front wheel that goes in front of the crawler, including lead inside to add some more weight, 282 grams, and over that, if I add the brass parts that I intend to install, these parts that goes together, plus an aluminum part to hold everything in place, it brings me to this part here, 383 grams. That's gonna be awesome. I'm ready to start the next phase, which is installing all the heavy parts and greasing everything, every gears inside the differentials. Let's begin. I know that the time lapse is fast sometime, but you can see that I added the Servo relocation kit plus the brass parts. Don't worry, I'm gonna leave links in the description if you want to see more about how to install all that. I inspire my build on others videos, so you can do the same. I'm gonna leave the links in the description. Let's see if there are any grease left after one summer of running outside. Let's open the gearbox. Okay, not only the grease is no more blue, it was blue grease that I added, but there are not a lot of grease. I have to put more grease this year again. Let's check this part. Oh, much better. Okay, we still have blue grease inside. I'm still gonna add some more, but it's a good sign. Okay, I want to show you the difference in size between the original part and the one that I bought all in brass. Check this out. This is huge and very heavy. It's already filled up with grease. I even have a nut, and a brass nut, to add more weight instead of an aluminum version. It's gonna be a little bit larger because the nut is a little bit bigger and certainly much heavier. Yeah, nice part. Well, let's review all the changes that I made. First, the rods. Everything was changed. They were in aluminum, now they are in steel. The relocation servo that orients the servo in the other direction and recenter everything, which is much better for the direction. I also changed the brass hub, obviously, and these small parts, which now are in aluminum, much rigid. Prior to that, we had some plastic parts that was very flexible, so it wasn't very strong. Now with lateral forces, it's going to be much stronger. And I applied the same modification here. Back in the garage, now it's time to cut the front grille to allow the body to go over the servo motor that is now facing the crawler. And to hide the crime, I decide to cut a gas tank to fit it in front of the grill and hide this big ugly hole. I almost forgot, I also 3D printed a milk crate to install on the back seat of the Jeep. So this is all the parts that I removed from my crawler and installed new parts. And this is the final look. Take a look at this. Very proud. It's a very nice vehicle. Well done. The battery compartment is right behind here. I'm gonna try to open it. It opens like this. The battery goes here and plugs here. Here we are. Voila. So this is the battery compartment. I changed the wheels and I changed the tires. The tires are larger and higher than the original ones, and the thread are completely different. Thread here is not adequate to crawl rocks because of this central part. It slips on rocks. This one here has more grip on the rocks. So I'm pretty curious to see the performance of these tires. Now let's open the hood. I glued 3 magnets here. The magnets sticks on this part here, and it's quite loose. It's expected to be that loose because I want to make sure that the magnets fits perfectly on it. These are the hinges that I made. I also screw and glued the metal part on the body here. I glued all the wires with hot glue. This is the servo motor for my direction. The leads that I prepare myself with the resistors. All the electronic is very flat. I didn't have to remove the battery holder. I left it there and it's correct. This is the driver for my winch in front. This is the winch. I added a couple of slice of lead because I want to have the maximum weight in the front, and because of the reorientation of the servo motor that is now in that direction, it goes further, so I had to cut the front here to allow the hood to go down here, and I hide the crime with this gas tank, as you can see here. And when it goes down, it clicks perfectly in place. Here we are. So this is the final result. We're in Quebec, and actually it's very cold outside. It's minus 22 degrees, so I don't want to go outside today, but as soon as it's not that cold, I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna drive this monster outside. Okay, now let's put the battery in and check what happens when we have power. Gonna remove the battery holder. And now let's take a look. So, this concludes the video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Believe me, I spent many hours on that project and I loved it. It's really a passion for me to build stuff, so I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel, share, and see you next time. Bye!